Hello, so I'm Harry Cooper from Jam Ltd. So I've been creating some mini games set within the sort of pitch black multiverse, the world, the ecosystem, whatever you want to call it. One of them's Audio Pong, which I'm going to do a video on in a moment. But this one, it's sort of a more unique idea. It's more of an original idea. It's less take a game that exists and make audio, and more sort of a audio only experience from the offset. And what it is it's called The Sounds of Eden. And without any spoilers, it's to do with the director in Pitch Black, the character, the director. And I had this idea that you could use a garden, like the Garden of Eden, as an extended metaphor for sort of creating a harmonic bed through which to attract musical creatures in the form of melodies. And so by gardening, by creating and planting the correct balance of flowers and trees and whatever, you create this rich, nourishing harmonic bed, and more melodies come into the game. So at the moment, what happens is you start the game. There's this low synth which sort of represents grass. Ecologically, I'm sure this isn't the case, but in this, it's sort of the foundation of everything. Once the grass is there, which is a C4 in MIDI, just a synth note, you can then plant trees and flowers, and trees and flowers have different notes. So everything's sort of normalized to the C major scale, but different trees may be the root, like an octave up or an octave down. The second tree is going to be like a fifth, the third might be a third, and the fourth is kind of a seventh at the minute, a minor seventh, just to add a little bit of colour. And so you can choose where to plant these in your garden, and that interacts with the harmonic bed of the grass. So you're kind of building up this bed of harmony. And flowers, I haven't done the sound design for those yet, but they'll sort of do the same, but a couple of octaves higher. And once you've planted enough trees, birds come along, and birds use procedurally generated melodies with weightings to the notes, which are sort of the happiest, I suppose. So they're the first, third, and fifth, and then they're less likely to pick notes like the sixth and the major seventh, particularly, because they'll sort of create dissonance within the garden. And so the better your garden does, the more birds you attract, and once it's in the game, the more flowers you place, the more bees you attract. And so eventually you end up with this sort of rich, ever-changing soundscape, which you've in part created and is in part created by the sort of algorithm which makes the melodies work in game. So yeah, so it's not obviously done yet, but I just wanted to do a quick overview of where it is, and I'm going to kind of keep updating this, particularly now I've found a decent screen recorder to use. Yeah, so I'm just going to press play. This is the Unity session, and I'll probably go through the various bits of code in another video because I think they're quite cool. For now, here's where we are with it. Okay, so you can hear that individual synth. That is the grass, and as I move the gardener around, you can hear the footsteps. I also had a chime VST which I just thought was nice. They're just from the C major scale, but it sort of makes everything in the game musical. It was just chimes originally and no footstep sounds. The problem with that is people that, well, it was very hard to tell that they were meant to be the character moving. Right, so I had to use something more akin to footsteps. So I went with a combination of the pair. It's sort of nice because it means you're actively adding to the melodies and harmonies in the game. Right, so now I'm going to press T1. You can hear that trees gradually fading in, and all of this is spatialized. So if I turn around, you can hear the tree go around your head. Right. Now I'm going to press T2. Cool. So that tree represents a different note. Here, as we move closer and further away from it, which tree is giving us the strongest impact is dependent on where they are relative to the garden. Let's try a more dissonant note. So I'm going to press T4 now, and this is adding in the 7th. So A sharp. Here, and you see that sort of really sticks out. But as I move away back towards the other trees, it's now having less of an impact. And if I move towards it, see, now it's really strong. And the second thing that added there is because I've now got 3 trees, if I go stand in between our trees, so I'm going to change the sound design on this, but what's happening is that's now spawned in a bird, and that bird is playing a procedurally generated melody with certain weightings to certain notes, and also moving in between the trees at a random interval. So it's actively finding where each tree is placed. It's getting a random number between a range that I've set in game, and then playing a melody at sort of random intervals for a certain amount of notes. So it's all very procedurally generated, but still sort of user controlled. And later on in development, what I'm going to do is certain types of birds stick to certain types of trees. Alright, so let's place another tree. So I'm pressing T2, now T3, T4, T3, and T1, and T2. Now, the more trees we have, the more birds appear. And as I move through the garden now, the harmony is changing relative to where I am positionally. I don't know, I find this so lovely. Yeah, and that's sort of where I am with it at the minute. I'm going to press pause now. But what's going to happen eventually is some of the sound design needs some work. The birds sound a little bit dissonant, and I think that's partly due to the synth that I've used, and partly to the weightings on the melody. But the idea is once the garden, if it isn't going very well, then the birds start, because you can change the weighting of the notes, you can then imply that we're now playing in A minor because it has the same keys of A, and so the whole mood of the garden sort of shift. And likewise with the bees, once they're in, which will go between the flowers. Yeah, so it's just an exciting idea, and I'll go through a bit of the code next time, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Cheers.